Okay, so I am Charlotte. I am a freelance photographer. I specialize in product and fashion. So a bit about me. As John said, I went to Nottingham College. It would have been 6 years ago now. So obviously when I was 17, 18, straight after school, I went to Nottingham College, did the BTEC level 3 diploma in photography. And then I went on to uni for 3 years studying editorial and advertising photography in Cheltenham. So it's the University of Gloucestershire that I went to, but the campus was in Cheltenham. Um, I'll come on to talk about I went into working for the Conran shop straight after uni, and now I'm freelance. So that's just a little bit about me. Here's a few examples of my work. So as you can see, very colour driven. Massively passionate about set design and styling. So I work with quite a range of clients. It kind of specialises from gifts, food, clothing. So yeah, a mixture of all sorts. Around that. So there's just an example of some work that I have done. So when I was at college, my work was very different to what I do now. This is some examples of some stuff that I did at college. I was very into surrealism, but I guess that element of styling came into it. I was very driven about the start to finish, what the set would look like. All the pre-production straight through to retouching and stuff. I'm a massive fan of retouching. So this is kind of what I was doing at college, and a similar thing.
Charlotte, sorry.
Stuff. Yep.
I just wanted to check. I can only see your first slide. Can everybody else see other slides,
really?
or is it just me? If you just let us know in the chat.
First slide only for me as well.
Right, okie dokie. That's interesting.
Am I best doing it from here? Can you see different slides now?
Yeah, we can that way, yeah.
Okay, I won't do the slideshow then.
Brilliant. Okay, that works now. Sorry about that. I had a feeling that you were sort of clicking through slides, but yeah. Okay.
I'll just give you guys a recap of like what slides you missed. So I think this was the main one. This is a mixture of my work that I have done. I mean, I'm sure there will be repeats and stuff. So this is my college work that I was doing. Can you all see that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, very into set design and retouching. So yeah, got to this. So I was also hugely inspired by fashion. Like since I was a young age, I was very much into fashion. I was kind of debating being a fashion designer at one point, and going into that, but I combined my two loves of fashion and photography instead. So yeah, as you can see, I loved colour at college as much as I do now. And then yeah, I went straight to uni after college at the University of Gloucestershire, and honestly, it was just amazing. Like when people say go to uni, it's the best years of your life. It is 100%. I learned so much. So when I first went to uni, I stuck to my fashion gut, and I was still doing fashion stuff first year and second year. I was specialising in men's fashion in particular, and editorial style stuff like you see on the left. So what I would do is I'd think of a genre. This one was like 80s men's fashion. So I'd pick like 6 to 10 outfits and kind of produce a series, kind of narrating through all of the different styles. And then it wasn't until I'd say the start of third year that I found my love for the studio. I was always shot on location, mainly in like direct sunlight, as that's kind of what I prefer. But yeah, I fell in love with studio work, and I honestly wish I'd started it earlier because I just loved it. I loved having all that control with set and lighting. So the one on the right is what I produced at my uni. And then obviously we hit lockdown, which I'm sure affected you all. But yeah, I was in my third year at the time, so I was doing my final major project. So the one in the middle was actually taken at my home, like my parents' home back in Nottingham, and obviously couldn't work with models and stuff. So I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I came up with this idea of kind of finding all different activities within the house and how I could kind of make it humorous and stuff. So obviously this was, you know, using food as a face mask and stuff like that. So yeah, just trying to work with what I got, which I think that's a massive thing for me. I have a small space, so it's just working with what resources you have. So when I left university, I obviously, due to lockdown and stuff, there wasn't many jobs at the time. So I think it was about 6 months after uni that I got my first full-time job in photography. But when I left uni, it was kind of using my initiative and stuff, because I was like, well, I need some sort of income straight after uni. So I was debating kind of getting a cafe job and doing like a few bits on the side. And I just reached out to people and tried to kind of set this ball rolling for freelance work. So I sent out loads and loads and loads of emails. I think like one time it was like 80 a day, just reaching out to people, asking if they wanted kind of stuff for social media, for their website. And it was actually a good turnaround, a lot more, like a lot better than I had expected. It was, some people obviously were interested, and at the time I was just charging a small amount and just trying to get the clients. So I did a few freelance jobs before I got this job, but for me it was a security kind of thing. I wanted that salary and stuff. Obviously I'm in the situation now where I'm back freelance. So yeah, I started at the Conran shop. Any of you who don't know, they are based in London. I think they've got a few in Tokyo shops, but they sell home, gift, furniture, lighting, all sorts, and very big brands too. Say like the Eames lounger chair, if any of you know it. So this is a few of the things that I was doing at the Conran shop. On the left is kind of their iconic eyes, and we did that for like a spring summer shoot. So as you can see, it was studio based. A lot of it was e-com stuff, so it was just shooting pack shots for their website. And then just a few examples of like what I was doing there. So we had like a little miniature car and just like lighting it as though you would probably an actual car. And then we had like a Christmas campaign. So you can see I was doing a real mix of stuff. And just to show you an example of just kind of like a day-to-day challenge, we got told by like the creative director that he wanted everything front-facing shots. So we were like, what is going to be the most difficult thing to photograph? And obviously cutlery, you'd probably just lay down. So I had the wonderful task of standing cutlery up with fishing wire and all sorts. Probably wasn't worth all the hassle. So yeah, I think I was at the Conran shop for about 10 or 11 months, shooting pack shots, some creative stuff, and it got to the point where all the time I was working at the conman shop, I was doing freelance work on the side. So I was working my 9 till 5. I'd get home about 5:30, 6, and then from 6 till about 11, every evening I was doing freelance work. Same with Saturday, Sunday. So I was just working 7 days a week, which I wouldn't recommend for anyone. I think it's great because I was building up the client list and bringing in obviously more of an income doing that, but it just wears you out completely. So it got to this stage where I was getting that much work in the evenings and weekends that obviously I reconsidered what job I was doing and stuff. So I decided to leave the conman shop and just be my own boss, and be freelance, which obviously it's quite a big step. It was a massive decision to make. And luckily I did have that support behind me that I could make that jump. Like, I spoke to a lot of close friends and family, and they were all very encouraging and stuff. So this is my life now. I live in my little flat in Leicester, and as you can probably see behind me, this is my setup. So you can see the photos on the screen now. This is kind of what I do day to day. So I'll contact my clients, and obviously if they arrange a shoot, get the parcel delivered to my door of all of the stock, and I'll just sit and shoot her. So a day's work for me can be anything from making mood boards to arranging client calls. It's a real like variety. And obviously if I've got a new client, it's kind of getting to know the brand and stuff. But yeah, here's a kind of a list of what I would do day in, day out. And all of the small things like shopping for props, you've got to take it all into consideration. But yeah, it's nice that every day is a bit of a variation. And obviously sometimes you feel full of creativity and you just want to shoot. So I'll just have a day full of shooting. And then sometimes I feel a bit like, don't feel very creative today. So I know I've just got a load of retouching that I can get on with. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it, enjoying being my own boss. So here's a recent shoot that I did for Brewdog, which I'm sure you're all aware of. And when I reach out to people in general, obviously sometimes I think I might hear back from these people and I might not. And Brewdog was one of them that I absolutely love their products, but I was like, wow, they're such a big company. I'd be shocked if they got back to me, and they'd probably have someone in-house. But yeah, they were so lovely to work with. And just like as an example of how clients can be so different is they were just like, full creativity, freedom left to me. They just said, yeah, send us over a mood board, and if it all looks okay, just go ahead with the shoot. Whereas I sometimes get people that want to see previews like as soon as I've taken them. So clients in general, they vary with how they like to work. But here's another example of some stuff. I'll just flick through these. So these are obviously all different subject varies. So this is very like product orientated. And then I do some stuff where it's got more of like a set design, creating more of that mood and a certain genre. Likewise with Nutrinuts, obviously it's more not just the packaging, you need to see the product inside too. So a lot of biting into peanut butter cups. And then, yeah, so this is one of my main clients, which is Rocker. So they do bags, and I get to work with models more with this, kind of work more on location and stuff. So that's like a few more opportunities, I say, to get out the house and arrange more shoots, kind of getting quotes in London and quotes for models. And then Doisy and Dam, so they're vegan chocolate, but as you can see, most of my clients that I work with are very colour orientated, very similar to me. So it's nice when I send over my portfolio that they go, oh my God, okay, you really like colour like we do. So it's like a mutual love for that. So I'll say a bit about how to find people to contact, and then just kind of show you my my working day. So I mainly use social media to find people, and then I'll find their email address after that and contact them. Trade shows, I mean, I have got work from word of mouth, so a friend of a friend has suggested working with me or something, which is obviously great, and the more well-known and established you are, the more that will happen. But yeah, I'd say social media is the main one, how I find people, and I have this general template, so it's very short and sweet, and I haven't changed it because it does work for me. But I write probably one line just saying what my circumstances, and how do you want any content creation, and stuff. And this actually works for me, so I haven't changed it. So I'll just, keep it very simple. I don't necessarily address it to someone. And then, yeah, I'll attach my portfolio. So this is the first page of my portfolio. I'll attach my website and stuff too at the bottom of the email. But I just think if you kind of have something eye-catching on the email, it's like one less click for them, if they're clicking on your website and then their internet's bad and stuff, having that PDF on the email, it's almost like an instant grab their attention. So I found this works for me. So I have stuck to it, yeah. So my process is kind of, this is a rough guide of what I go through, but I'll quickly run through it. So I'll contact the company. This could be normally email. And then if they're interested, most of the time they've got someone in-house already, or they're just not interested. But of probably like 1 in 10, they want to arrange a call or something. So I'll normally have a call with a client, discuss budget and ideas, what products, how many photos, whether there's any concepts that they want to tick off. Then follow up with a mood board and an estimate and a license, which I won't go into too much detail, but basically just an estimate cost of how much it will cost and whether props are needed and stuff. And then licensing my work, so I almost rent my work. I'll always own the photos, but they'll say pay for the usage of social media and stuff, and then if they want it for print, they can come back to me and negotiate a price. So yeah, we'll go through paperwork and stuff. I then normally receive the products, have a photo shoot, and sometimes I'll have a call around this time just to check that everything's okay and it's what they imagined. And then I do my retouching, send over some previews, and then once that's okayed, invoice and send over the photos. So that's just a rough outline of what a photo shoot process would be for me. Going on to what I would have wanted to know, obviously, when I was in your shoes, so 6 years ago for me. And I'll just quickly whiz through these, and then that's me done. So I'd say character and style is a massive thing. I noticed when I was at university, a lot of people were finding their feet. And luckily, I already had my passions for kind of colour, fashion and styling. And that was always shown throughout my work. And I've noticed now when I contact people, as I say, they have that mutual interest for like colour. So they go, oh, yeah, we really want to work with you. And I think it might take you a long time to find your feet, but it's very important to kind of have that niche, I'd say. The importance of emailing, as I said, it was emails after emails. I spent days and days reaching out to people, and I still do. I'd say like at the moment I have probably about 3 months booked in advance. So obviously when I contact people, I'm contacting them, say now for summer work. But yeah, the importance of emailing and just getting your name out there. Sticking to your word, which I will get customers trying to negotiate prices. I'll get customers trying to say, oh, we've never signed a license before, so we don't want to sign one with you. And honestly, if like know your worth 100% in the industry, because it is so important. Confidence, a massive thing. Like I said, I sometimes reach out to people and think they're not going to get back to me. But yeah, definitely give yourself a bit of credit. I think I was a very different person when I was at college and had barely any confidence. So building on that massively and like just sitting back and being able to kind of say, okay, you know, I've done well today and stuff is massively important. I'd say you can't plan too far in advance because things change massively. As soon as lockdown happened, you know, it threw, as I'm sure it threw everyone off, but I was like, oh God, I'm not going to go straight into a job after uni. It kind of changed everything for me. And I remember even doing a talk at university and said, there is no way I'm going to be freelance after uni. It probably when I'm 40 and I'm settled with kids, I might think about going freelance, but I was like, no, it's not for me. And here we are. So don't try and say plan your life ahead of itself. I mean, I was doing fashion at the time, and I'd say I'm probably driven by products now. So don't beat yourself up if it's not kind of going to plan, because it does. Hopefully, it will fall into place for you all. I say my last bit of advice is, if your heart's not in it, don't do it. I would say freelance work, it's a 9 to 5 job, but it is a 24/7 almost process for yourself. I mean, outside, so I'll work 9 to 5 for a client, but as soon as it hits 5 o'clock, it's not let's sit on the sofa and relax. It's I'm doing paperwork, I'm doing taxing, I'm doing estimates for people, updating my website, working out just like different things. I mean, luckily I have apps and stuff that help with that, but it is, as soon as normally you go home from work, it kind of continues from there. And I have seen a lot of people through college and university that have dropped out. You see people kind of really do like photography, and it is a passionate career base. It's not like your 9 to 5 office work. I'd say it is like you have to be passionate about what you do. So yeah, I think that's a massive thing, is photograph what you love is probably the best way to put it, because then your passion comes through without even knowing. So yeah, that is me. I think we'll move on, stop me rambling and move on to question and answers now, I guess. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Charlotte. That was really, really good and really, really interesting. And we've got a fair few questions that have started coming through. I'm giving Charlotte a virtual round of applause, by the way, which you guys can do too if you can figure out how to do it. There we go. Little round of applause happening. Yeah, that was great, and it was really, for me, it was absolutely lovely because obviously I know you from sort of 6 years ago when you were at Nottingham College, and to see how you've changed, developed, grown, and the amazing work that you're putting together now is brilliant. Liam, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the Q&A host, or we should take one each, or what do you want to do?
I can do a few until everyone gets bored of my monotonous voice, and then you can take over.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah, thanks, Charlotte. Like John said, that was great. Great to hear. Nice to see some of your college work. That I remember it well. So we do have quite a few questions. So you kind of said that you sent 80 emails a day for a period. That's a lot of sort of cold contact. Was there any other kind of form of networking that you did, or once you kind of, now that you have clients, what networking do you continue to maintain?
Obviously, yeah, like you say, cold emailing and cold calling in general. I mean, I was told at university, you know, don't avoid doing it because you won't get a response, which isn't the case. So I think as long as that was my main form of networking. Obviously, with lockdown, it was almost the only way to network. So I think that was almost like on my side a bit, in terms of that's how people communicated through, you know, calls like this. So I think that helped me. But I think as long as you're approachable about it, and I mean, obviously, when I send my emails, it's what can I do for you, but obviously what can they do for me, because it is my living. But at the end of the day, I'm wanting to sell their brand and help with their advertising and make their brand stand out more. So it is obviously what can we do for each other. But I think as long as you have that email and it's eye-catching, you have that like this is me kind of statement, then I think people are like willing to. I mean, Brewdog were lovely about it. They were like they even said, we want to do like a little bit of an article on you. We want to kind of show that you can just send an email to someone, get a job and smash it, and then go from there, like which is lovely, and you can do it. I'm a living proof.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's really good to hear. We tell our students all the time, you know, to go out and just take photos of people, ask, talk to people, approach them. You never know what's the worst that can happen. I mean, that leads us on to Ellen's question a little bit, which was, you know, how did you initially decide who to email? Did you look for products that you thought that you would like to work for, or that had a similar style to you, or local?
Yeah, I definitely started local. So on one of my slides, so there's a place in Nottingham called Handmade Nottingham, and they stock loads of independent places. So I was definitely starting with independent shops, earrings, jewelry, clothing. So that's what I started doing, and just like modeling it on myself because I couldn't work with models at the time. So just creating kind of surreal worlds for them. And then it kind of went on to product and food and stuff. I don't have a background in food photography at all, but I have a background in product and studio and advertising. So for me, it is very much, you know, not necessarily food styling, but as long as like it's in the packaging, it's all looking nice and refined, that is my avenue. So yes.
One of the questions was, does the chocolate melt in the studio?
I have had ice cream. I've shot with ice cream before, which was very, they say don't work with children and pets, but don't work with ice cream, because honestly, I'd scoop it, put it in a bowl in the freezer all ready, And then at the time I was shooting at my parents' house, so I had to run upstairs too. So I had all the lighting and try not to have modelling lamps on, you know, keep it as cool as possible, open the windows, and then I'd just get it, run. And honestly, it was a matter of minutes before it was just a melted slosh. Chocolate's a bit better. It's easier to work with. I'd say ice cream was worse. So yeah, it's not too bad. It doesn't melt too much.
Good. But so you had to eat it, I suppose, before it melted?
Oh God, yeah. Freebies is a great thing. It sorts birthdays and Christmases out for friends and family.
So do you get many sort of free samples and things?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's mainly the stock that I get in general, and then obviously if I need more stock sending, they just send as many as possible. But yeah, I do have a little stock cupboard which is just full. I sorted it out the other day and I was like, oh my God, I've just got so much stuff. Because obviously if you work with a client just once, so they'll send everything that you need for that shoot. And normally I keep it for like future shoots. Because sometimes I work with people seasonal, so they want stuff for Easter and then probably summer, Christmas. So I'll kind of like keep hold of it. But if it's just like the one-off shoot for a new product and then they just go, okay, we'll just keep hold of it, eat it. So yeah.
You get to keep anything that they send.
Yeah, I've not had to do a food shop in about 6 months. No, I'm joking. I do chocolate.
Nice. When you're on location, I don't know how often you work on location, but do you have to take all of your equipment with you, or do you hire out a studio elsewhere?
I don't often do it. I mean, I have got a shoot coming up. We're working with 3 models over 2 days, and that's for Rocker, the bag company. And we're shooting in Kent, so yeah, I'll just take all of my lighting and backdrops and stuff, and more kind of just hire the space rather than all the equipment on top. I mean, I'd say my equipment's almost basic at the moment. I am looking to upgrade, but it's something that comes with it. Like I obviously couldn't afford massive lighting at the time, and it is a massive just work with what you've got, because I know people that still do studio stuff, but with like daylight, which obviously you have no control over. You can use reflectors and modifiers and stuff, but 100% like work with what you've got. Like, I'm sure everyone's got some chocolate in their house, and I'm sure people can go outside and you've probably got some white card that you can bounce light and stuff, and it's just messing around with stuff like that. With the resources that you've got.
Well, it's good to hear and good to see, because I mean that's when we're teaching studio, we tell the students it is about just solving the problems in the studio. It's about solving problems of how to work with what you've got, and it is good to see that the quality of your work with work in your own home with maybe not the most expensive room, which Reese has asked, because he's thinking about going into freelance work, and he's kind of got an opportunity for a small little warehouse unit.
Oh, amazing.
What would be the essentials? What does he need? What should he get? And how much did you initially invest in going freelance?
I'd say, I mean, I bought my camera at university, which to me was, I've got a Canon 6D Mark II, which was like, oh my God, this is so much money. It is an investment. So I had the money saved up, and I just got a 18 to 70, no, 24 to 70 lens. I had to check that. Just because it was like the basics, almost like the basic lens. I didn't, go out splashing loads of money. Obviously that was a lot of money for me. It was the most that I've ever just spent in one go. So I did that. I bought that at university, and then I'd say so I bought the lights, so just 2 lights, 2 soft boxes. I didn't have backgrounds at the time. I'd just buy A1 sheets of card from Hobbycraft. And I'd say my lights were probably 350, I'd say. So it was like a few jobs that kind of covered that, and then I was kind of set to go. So, I mean, obviously you've got like Adobe that comes into that, emails, websites. So all of that money, I was kind of used to, because that's what I was doing already at university. But yeah, so not too much, maybe like just some lights and a camera, and cards and props are cheap. I think A1 card from Hobbycraft's like £2.50 a sheet. it's definitely affordable. So.
Yeah, and I suppose when you're working with smaller items and smaller products, then you don't have to invest in backdrops.
Yeah, definitely. Like the smaller items, you can get away with it.
When you do work with models,
yeah,
do you use an agency? Where do you get your models from?
So I think, yeah, I'll initially look into agencies and stuff. I mean, agencies do put a price on, so where I can, I do try and find them on Instagram and contact them. Most of the time they do say contact my agency, but sometimes they don't. So it's about kind of saving a bit of money. So obviously I'm based Leicester. I don't think there's many modelling agencies in Leicester, so it's normally looking kind of around Coventry, Nottingham, around there. And then normally if we're shooting down south, it would just be London agencies. And obviously all agencies kind of vary in what kind of they have to offer. With Rocker, they're kind of the only brand that I use models for. And they're quite, because it's like a bag company and it's quite lifestyle, you want almost like quite real looking people, so nothing like too out there and stuff, almost like your generic dog walking people. So yeah, I normally London I'd say is the best bet for any modelling agencies.
Hannah's asked, out of all of the photo shoots that you've done, what do you say?
Oh, tough question. I think Pop Soda, which is Brewdog's soft drink brand, mainly because that was a new release. So it was quite exciting that it was like, as a visual point of view, my photography was going to be the first thing that people saw of the brand. Obviously like the products on the shelves itself and stuff, but it was almost bringing a brand to life, which I haven't always had the opportunity to do. Obviously they're mainly brands that already exist, but the fact that they almost put that in my hands, like gave me that opportunity, that was like really exciting for me. So I'd say that one.
And so when you do work with a client, I want to know, do you have ideas about what you want to do with that client? How do you get your ideas? Do you have a lot of freedom to do what you want to do?
I'd say it kind of varies. So obviously when I do contact someone, I am bursting full of ideas, but the main thing is it is what the customer wants at the end of the day, and they'll want to portray their brand in a certain way, especially if they've started the brand, they know exactly what the brand strategy is, brand identity is, and I'm new to it, so I might see the brand as something completely different to what it's meant to be. So the main thing is getting their input initially, and then almost when I get that idea of what the brand's about, I can make mood boards and stuff. I'll always run a mood board back to the client and say, is this kind of what you're after visually, just to confirm everything. And yeah, I find inspiration from everywhere. I could just be walking out in the street and I'll just be like, oh, that's a cool poster. Just take a photo and make a note of it. Always on Pinterest and Behance and stuff, finding inspiration. And obviously like social media is so good for that. I mean, I'm an anti-social media person. I try to use it minimally. But yeah, as soon as you go on Instagram, people are creating stuff and posting stuff all the time. So just being kind of walking with your eyes open, which obviously you do, but as in like,
Not passive.
yeah, like actually taking in your surroundings and stuff will help.
Using Instagram was actually originally for, which is photography and making sure that you're not just on social media, but you're using it for what it should be used for, and for your own work. Good.
Yeah.
Got quite a lot of questions. Condensed. Similar.
I will just, if anyone doesn't have their question answered, you can message me on Instagram or whatever, and hopefully I can help out. But yeah, as you're saying, Liam.
Yeah, well, they've all got a link to your site, so yeah, they can all comment. Yeah. Shannon wants to know, once you've taken the images for a client and you're finished and you're edited, they're all edited, how do you send the images to the client? Do you reduce the size of that? Do you put watermarks on it? Do you email them? What do you do?
No, so I mean, normally I'll get invoices to be paid in full, unless I've worked with a client before and obviously I trust them and stuff. But no, so what I do is I'll send low res previews. I don't watermark it or anything. They're just screenshots, so they can't really do anything with them because they are pretty much pixelated. So what I'll do is I'll send over the high res and yeah, don't watermark it or anything. I mean, the license will cover your back. So when I send a license to use, it will say social media and like website use. So say if they printed it, I could technically, I'll be on their back and be like, it wasn't licensed for that. So either they'll pay me money or we'll have a big argument, either or.
Yeah, good. So how difficult can it be working with clients?
9 times out of 10, they're a breeze, I'd say. In terms of, paying on time and just like in terms of communicating in general, I have had a few, which I'm sure you'll get, pains.
Yeah.
I think the worst one for me was they were they almost wanted to be on set with me without being on set. So turned down my offer of actually coming and helping, but said, can you send previews almost off the back of your camera? So as soon as I was taking a photo, I was taking a photo again on my phone and sending it, like no creative freedom. And it was to the point where they were like okaying stuff, and then I'd sit hours retouching and send it, be like, actually, we've changed our mind. We don't want the set to be like that at all. So obviously that's very frustrating. And luckily it doesn't happen a lot. I'd say I do have quite a good working relationship with my clients. So, we can jump on a call whenever. If they wanted something tweaking, just doing it, like free of charge and just being quite like open and okay with stuff like that. But yeah, when a client's a pain, it's just about keeping you cool, because obviously word gets around and they know someone else and who knows someone else. Obviously, keeping people happy is a massive thing to do.
Well, yeah, I suppose that there's a kind of compromise that you need to kind of come to so that you can have a continuing professional working relationship with these clients, keep them coming back. But as you said, if they're not going to value you and you know your worth, then I suppose sometimes those things they don't happen.
Yeah,
which is fine. Apparently, my audio is not very good. I've only just read that comment. So do you want to take over, John? If my microphone, it did fall off the desk yesterday, so it's the first time I've used it.
It suddenly seems to be working better, actually. Just at the exact moment that you said that, I could suddenly hear you loads better.
Okay.
Are you close? Are you closer to it?
I turned up the input volume.
Yeah, it sounded like there was a gate on it or something. It kept sort of copping out. But anyway, yeah. I'm happy for you to carry on, Liam. It's up to you. I'll throw in my one question I did put in the chat for now, which was specifically with regards to retouching, Charlotte. Obviously, something that you've got a really strong skills base in. And as I wrote in the chat, other than from Liam and I's amazing Photoshop lessons, of course, I imagine you've done a lot of self-teaching. So have you got any tips for how to go about learning retouching? Because it takes a lot of time to learn to do it well. And obviously, whilst we can show students in lessons some of the core skills, they've got to kind of roll with it themselves.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I was probably 15 or something. So even before college, when I started self-teaching, and it was a matter of just going on YouTube. And as soon as I needed to learn something, and for me at the time, obviously, it was probably like clone stamp and how to cut something out and stuff, how to use pen tool and stuff like that. So at the time, I'd just kind of be curious, kind of type in what I wanted to know. And with Photoshop, it's almost when you know something, you can apply it to so many different things. Like I don't think I've watched a Photoshop tutorial in years. So it's normally when you learn what each thing does, obviously you can apply it to different things, and it's kind of sets the ball rolling, and then you can mess about with everything. But I think stuff like skin retouching was probably like frequency separation and how to kind of separate a layer. If anyone does beauty or portraits or anything, type in frequency separation, it will change your life. I say another thing is like color grading. That is a massive thing for me, because obviously I'll shoot flat, so it's like a neutral profile, so the colors are kind of, you start from a basic canvas as soon as I put it into Photoshop. But for me, another thing on Photoshop is like the selective color adjustment layer. So that changes an image completely, because you're adding, you know, you can select each color channel and add certain colors within that color channel, and yeah, that helps a lot. So frequency separation and selective color.
Fantastic. Okay, make a note of those, guys. Lou actually runs our digital marketing course, which we set up quite recently, and obviously it's fantastic for students to come from all kinds of backgrounds, creative backgrounds, to see what you're doing. She's got a really interesting question about when you are actually talking to a company or client, and they put a brief to you. To what extent did the sort of you define the styling, the values, or to what extent do they kind of tell you what they want? How do you negotiate that and find that creative path with a client?
So some people that I work with, they know what their brand is, and they it's almost like set in stone. So they'll give me, say, like the color palettes that they use, any like fonts that they use, say if like there's text on a stop motion, and they're very specific. It needs to be we have these shots, so it needs to be something similar to that and stuff. Whereas I sometimes get people that almost, they just want creativity. They want something eye-catching that they know will kind of like reach people and grab people's attention. So that is a massive thing for me. It is ultimately selling the product. So yeah, normally it is a creative process that they kind of leave it to me, which is, it's great because they're putting the responsibility in my hands and they're trusting me. But sometimes I'll, like I say, have to work with certain props, like they'll say, oh, certain coloured props, or they like certain things, and normally they've found some inspiration and they say, we really like this, would you be able to kind of do something similar to this, the similar style or similar angles and stuff like that.
Cool, thanks for that. How are we doing, Liam? I'm losing track of how many of the students' questions we've got covered. covered.
I think we've got through quite a few of them, or at least Charlotte's kind of answered them all within the other questions that we've asked. Millie's asked, how long would you typically be with a client? Do they come and go, or have you had one from the start?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the independent places that I first reached out to in the beginning, they kind of tend to book once a year. So for them, it's quite a big investment to kind of have a photo shoot, and they'll try and do as much as they can themselves. So for them, it's probably something that they'll, I'll kind of keep in contact and be like, how are you doing? Like, let me know if you want to arrange something. I'll have clients, like I say, that do seasonal work. So I'll hear from them, say like Easter, in the summer, say like Halloween, they might want some stuff for social media, and then like Christmas campaigns. I mean, Christmas obviously the big one because everyone wants to sell stuff near Christmas, and obviously I work with a lot of gifty kind of places, so they need like that content. And then so Rocker I work for on a retainer basis, so they basically book up all my days I have spare, which is great. It's like it's almost like working full-time for someone, but not, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I work for them probably 2/3 of the month, working for them, but just because they're like, we constantly need content, and it will be different briefs. So I'm working on Mother's Day content this week, so it will be like a Mother's Day collection campaign, and then they're bringing out some new prints, so I'll be working on that. So Rocker, yeah, I say they're my main clients, and I'm very much more involved. Like I'll have weekly meetings with them, and they've kind of got me on the design team with like designing bags, which is amazing because I love my fashion. So actually designing bags too, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I'm up for that. So yeah, I say like normally clients, they're all kind of like from the beginning, but it's how often they book in shoots. I wouldn't say I've necessarily lost a client. Say if I've not heard from them in a while, they might just say budget's tight or something. I mean, hopefully that's not their way of fobbing me off. But yeah, no, yeah, they're all really sweet and stuff, and keep in contact. So
that's good. So your main client is Rocker then, and that's really good that you've got that kind of retainer from them.
Yeah, no, it is. It did start with like a monthly retainer, so I'd work with them, say like a few days a month, but that's obviously when I was at Conran. And now it is like we want you three days a week minimum.
When you meet with them, is that do you meet face to face ever, or is it always virtual?
Yeah, sometimes they say come down to London, we'll take you out for like a nice 3-4 course meal, and I'm like, oh, lovely. But no, normally it's like a Zoom call, just to be like, what's being released and stuff. And I'm doing all their pack shots at the moment too, which work through the website, making everything consistent, which is your bread and butter.
A pack shot is for our students.
So if you're anything like me and you love a bit of online shopping, when you look at the product and you can see the front, the back, the side, any detail shots and stuff of the actual product. So that's what I'm doing for bags at the moment. So I'll do front, side, back, a few detail shots like inside the bag and stuff. And I think in December they sent me 130 bags. That's 7 photos per bag. I was very busy in December.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got maybe 2 more questions I'd like to ask, and then maybe we should probably let you get on with your day. But the first one was, do you manage to find time for personal projects still? I saw you did some really, really interesting stuff through lockdown. But with you being busy, do you still get to do stuff just for your own pleasure, or?
Yeah, like you say, it is a very time-consuming job as it is. So obviously, when I when I work for a client, that's like my 9 till 5, and then I've got all different paperwork and stuff and hobbies. Obviously, I do leave the house. So yeah, I think balancing everything. I haven't done any personal work for a very long time, and it is on my list. And I think it is very, very, very important. Sometimes your personal work can get you commissioned work. So as long as you've got, like, if you have got a good idea and you run with it, and it's like you put time and energy into it, you don't have to put like loads of money into it and stuff, but if you have that good idea and you run with it, 100% it can get you commissioned work. And I've seen it happen with other people where they've said, you know, I was out and about, I was waiting for a train, and I started doing some landscape work, and I'm a fashion photographer, but now all my fashion clients want landscape work. So yeah, it is 100% important, and I say that's a massive thing this year, is to make time for me, is to make time for personal work. So yeah.
Yeah, I can relate. I think probably every lecturer can relate acutely to the issue of trying to find time for your personal work. And the final thing I just wanted to ask was, I know you have talked, you kind of ended with the brilliant slide, giving us some advice about things you wish you'd known 6 years ago when you started at college. But really specifically, looking back at your 2 years at college, is there anything you wish you did or tried, or you maybe could have taken advantage of?
Yeah, interesting question, because I was a very different person back at college. I mean, as you both know. I think confidence was a massive thing for me. Like, I had probably zero confidence. But just having that belief, I know it sounds really cheesy me saying it, but it's just kind of like having a little pep talk with yourself and being like, you can actually do it and stuff. Because I know for teenagers it's a tough time, you're finding your feet with everything and what you want to go into. It is an important time in your life. But just having a bit of like time to yourself and like considering stuff and being like, you know, I can do it, I can, and stuff. Yeah, like I said, had like no confidence at college. So it's good to kind of gain some at university and stuff. I'd say, like I've said about photographing your passion. So for me, it was like colour, advertising, and fashion was like my 3 things that I really wanted to cling on to with my photography. Obviously your passions can link to hobbies and stuff. I'd say I wish I went in the studio more, mainly like at college and uni, because I think I was scared of like lighting to begin with. I was almost like, you know, when you try, I remember being at college and putting the lights up and being like, well, why doesn't it look right? I've got lights up. And being like, well, lights make everything better. Why isn't it working? And I remember just having to like keep trying different setups and being like, no, it's not working. And then it does put you off, because it's like, well, if it's not working first time, then clearly I'm not a studio photographer and stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, I literally do, like, my dining room table is my set. Like, that is where I take photos. And it's learning to like flag lights and like manipulating the light and stuff. Obviously you're not just going to put lights up and it's going to look great. Like, that's not going to happen, but it's perseverance and stuff. I think as long as you stick to it. I just wish I wasn't that scared of the studio. I probably would have found my feet a bit quicker.
Thank you. Thanks so much for that. And I think for me, the message of, if I want the students to take home one message from all of this more than any other, it's that it's totally normal not to be confident when you're 16 or when you're 17 or 18. And Charlotte's living proof in that, you know, she she is a much more confident person now, and that can come with time and with experience. Sometimes students at 16 are putting enormous pressure on themselves to be this really confident person that they're not ready to be yet, and that's okay. But Charlotte is proof that confidence can come with time and experience.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've taken up an hour of your time, and just a huge thank you again. It's been absolutely brilliant. Like I said, a huge pleasure for Liam and myself to see you going on to do these great things. Hopefully the students are taken away from this that our former students do go on to do really, really good things in industry. So yeah, huge virtual round of applause for Charlotte. I'm going to do my little applause-y thing again. There we go.
Thank you for inviting me both. And yeah, like I say, if there's any questions, just message me on Instagram and stuff. And I'm very, very, very grateful that you've invited me to do a talk.
No, you're very welcome, and thank you for your time. Lots and lots of positive comments in the chat about your work. People really love it, responding to it really well. So well done. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll probably make you come back and do this again in a couple of years.
Oh, I would love to.
All right, have a great day. Next talk is at 2 p.m, guys. So we've got Meg Jenkins from Monolith AI going to be talking about her role as a digital marketer. So we'll see you at 2. Bye, everyone.